Hey folks, welcome back to another video from me, Fraser. Here we are today in Sydney. We're going to take this Virgin Australian Airlines up from Sydney to Brisbane, just your normal stereotypical business commute between the two cities. So we'll get straight into it. We'll get this flight plan all loaded up and we'll get going pretty quickly. And just in good old-fashioned my style of loading up a flight plan, we just want to get it loaded up as quickly as possible by coming into here, going into init, go position init, type in our airport, copy that into there. Now we're going to go to route, clear that, request flight plan, load up the SimBrief one, set payload, set fuel, set route. Wait for that to load up and we'll just quickly get our cruising altitude, which is I think 37,000 feet, so we'll get that dialed in. Just double check that. And we will get a new flight plan loaded up. Yeah, 37,000 feet. Actually, I won't do that just yet. I'll just see what, just load this, get that loading. Now I'll just enter in 37. We'll come into this Brisbane airport and we'll just make sure what the altitude, the landing airport altitude is, but I think it's basically sea level in Brisbane, which is, yeah, sea level. So we'll just get this APU fired up, get that oxygen, get that nice airflow into the cabin, and we'll align our IRSs like so. That's all we need to do just for that bit. Activate that flight plan, now go to our perf init page, and we'll just enter in our field, so 370, average wind is going to be 260/40, our zero fuel rate is going to be, we'll just make it 58.7, 58.7, cost index is going to be 7, and our reserve fuel is going to be 2.3. And that's our weights done. We're just going to init, so yeah, we do need to copy and paste that like so. And we'll just import our flight plan. Not that, we'll just get this set up anyway for our departure. So our takeoff runway is going to be 34 right, the nice small runway that will take us out over the city, and we'll use that departure, and we'll just load up our flight plan, get that ready, and we'll go to our legs page, we'll request our winds. While we do that, we'll just quickly go ahead and do we'll release all of these while we're here, because it takes a while for them to disappear. And then we'll go to our performance page, select runway 34 right, import our weights from our aircraft, import the weather, calculate, so takeoff 142. So while we're here, we'll just finish off what we're doing with the winds. Execute, and we'll go to descent, go to forecast. While we're here, we'll enter in our QNH, which is 1014. push the magic B button to set our altimeters, and we'll just select that to that, and we'll put that into there, and we'll just pre-select our altitudes that we want SimBriefed our PMG to pull the SimBrief data from. So if you go execute, because we have to do that first, and we'll just load our winds, and that will just pull in the winds relative to those flight levels. Execute, and we'll go to get our flight clearance. So we've got legs, we've got init. Just need to do our enter this in. So takeoff 142. So we select takeoff 1, and then we'll do climb 2A and 41. I was just going to set it to that, so that's okay. We'll just leave it as it is. And I'm just going to change that. So what was I going to do? Oh yes, we're going to enter now the wind, takeoff wind 50 is 50-16. And flaps 5. We'll bring up our trim. Just copy and paste. Oh, what we have forgotten to do is turn on the APU. And now we will just set our trim to 480. That's close enough. And we'll just set terrain, position, data, terrain, position, data, and we'll have airports in that field. And I'm just going to change my departure to runway 34 right. And this is going to be our departure, no transition, so apply that. And while that's loading, we'll just select our departure heading, which is, I'm going to scroll it to 34 anyway, but it's going to be 355, actually 335 is our runway heading. And our takeoff is 146. Right, that's all. Get our taxi clearance. That's all we need to do, really. We'll get rid of our last of our ground crew. Get that handbrake on. Release ground power. Remove the chocks. Perfect, we're set to go, so we'll start our pushback. Set our transponder to on. And we're just going to turn on the wing fuel tanks. We don't need the other fuel tanks. Collision light can now come on. We'll close these, turn these on. Turn all of these on. P2 and our windscreen heaters, and we will get rid of the jetway. Alright, and we'll release the handbrake, and we will start our pushback. And we'll just get this engine started, so we're ahead of the game, and we should have enough room to spin this right around. Right, that's That's perfect. Get rid of the tug, put the handbrake on, and we'll start our next engine any moment now. It will flick over. Oh yeah, it would help if we turn off our packs. We'll turn off our yaw turn on our yaw dampener because that's also, we can turn that on. And we'll get our flaps 5 set. Right, we're just going to get this second engine going. And we can select that to continuous, get that generator bus on. And we'll just release the parking brake, we'll just let it sort of just go ahead and roll away. We'll turn our flight directors on, we'll get out. I think we can't turn that on until our engine's finished turning on, so we'll just wait for that. And that's that second engine finished it starting up. So we'll turn on both our packs again, get that airflow into the cockpit and the cabin, and yeah, we're ready to taxi on out to our departure runway. And we'll just get all of these turned on. So this flight is kind of a continue on from our flight that we did from Auckland to Sydney, but we're going to do a little domestic hop up to Brisbane. I initially had planned on doing a flight from Brisbane to Bali, but I've just got to get the weights right for it. I think there's a bit of a strong headwind or whatever, and it just wasn't going to happen. So what we'll do is we'll do a flight to Brisbane and then we'll carry on up to Bali. But yeah, there's a bit more involved with setting up the 737, but I do enjoy flying it. It definitely is a nice aircraft to fly in Flight Simulator. But yeah, we'll do this nice little hop up to, which is now my current hometown of Brisbane. Well, I should say city. Brizzy. It's a very beautiful city. I really enjoy living here. I'm really happy that we've moved here. But the weather is definitely hot. We can now turn off the APU. We don't need that anymore. Yeah, it's very hot here coming from Scotland, but no doubt we'll acclimatise to the heat. But I'm looking forward to doing a lot more of these sort of regional flights around Australia. There's lots to explore, and once these make their way over to Flight Simulator 2024, we'll enjoy that all the more, even though like the difference between 2024 and 2020, there's not much really in it. And we're just going to have to pretend we don't see any traffic, because that traffic should be on the other side. Because this is Australia and we drive on the left hand side, and that should be on the right hand side. But yeah, we'll just pretend that never happened as we go on through the Saab 340. And I've said this a few times, I really do enjoy taxiing around Sydney. It's quite a unique airport, Sydney. It's how it's situated on the harbour there, and how the runways are jutting out into the bay there. And I could imagine in a nice stormy day you'll get a nice chop in the water there, a really cool stormy feel to it, with the ships over there in the distance. I mean, for some people that would look quite industrial and quite not the most appealing, but in other aspects it does look quite cool, or that industrial shipping and whatnot. But yeah, it's a really cool airport to navigate around. It's quite a interesting laid out airport, and it'll be even more interesting when that new Sydney airport, that Sydney West airport, opens up. I'm sure eventually that airport will become the main airport one day, but I also get the feeling too this airport will still be a critical part of Sydney's infrastructure, and they probably won't get rid of it, especially considering it's right in the heart of the city. Although for other folks they probably want it gone due to the noise and whatnot. Right, what we will do is we'll turn on the weather radar. We don't need our terrain radar, and we'll turn this to TARA. The airplane seeking radar, I like to call it now and again. And I think that's everything all set up. What we will do is we'll just turn on our landing lights and our strobe lights as if we're ready, because there's nothing else coming towards us really, and everything looks pretty set. Once you fly this a lot, you start seeing switches that shouldn't be in a particular position. But as I said many times, you can make this as easy as hard as possible, but as it is, this aircraft is, if you use all the systems and just once you understand it, it's a very easy aircraft to set up and fly if you just want to shortcut everything like I do. And yeah, there's lots you can get out of this aircraft. The same with the Airbus, same with the 777. To be honest, no aircraft in the flight simulator is, in a simulation world, is difficult to fly. Everything's all pretty manual, pretty all set up, you know. The only ones that will be that are sort of more hands-on is like the BAE 146 and having to do the radio navigation, and as well as the 727 with, same again, either the radio navigation or that using that very the old school computer programming unit where you have to enter in all of the waypoints, and if you get one wrong you can end up somewhere else on a journey. Right, we're gonna just carry on with our departure. Everything's on. And we're just gonna go for it. Spool up the engines. Hit the magic little hidden button here to get your effectively activate your auto throttle, and away we go. Taking off from Sydney's right-hand runway, which is the one of the shortest runways in Sydney. Plenty of room to take off. And then we're going to do an instant bank around the right, and we're just going to engage the autopilot and enjoy the view as we take off out of Sydney. And avoid the city, and we will just go through the usual after takeoff procedures. We will raise the retractable landing lights to bring that efficiency up, and we'll just go flaps straight up as we enjoy the climb out over the Sydney downtown city there. Flying over some sports fields there, the cricket ground and the football stadium. And the beautiful Sydney CBD and the Opera House and the iconic Sydney Harbour Bridge. It is a very beautiful laid out Sydney, although from what and nice beaches too, lots of nice bays, but from what I understand it's a very, very busy place and a very expensive place to live. As we now climb out over the coast here. There's Manly, which is very famous. That's the famous Bondi Beach, which gets absolutely hammered in the summertime by the tourists. But as you can see, I mean, that's the iconic beach where a lot of films, I believe, are made, but when you branch out there's lots of really beautiful beach coastlines all around the area. And we are now going to see if we've got... Sweet, we're just going to go to standard, and we're going to turn off these lights. And we're also going to turn off the seatbelt light, let those cabin crew deliver the food and refreshments, and just let the aircraft do its thing, I reckon. But yes, we'll leave you guys to it. as there's not much else to talk about really, and we'll just enjoy the flight. It's going to be a very short one up the coast there, and we'll get back to you for our top of descent. So we'll see you guys very shortly. Right, and just like that, we're coming up fast to our top of descent, so we'll start pulling the speed, this altitude back, and we will see what our actual descent is going to be. Our fixed final altitude is going to be 4,000 feet, so we'll just get that set into here. I'm not too sure if ATC will give us anything else, but we'll just get that. We'll get that set and ready to go. And I'm just going to set my decision altitude. Like so, and one thing we will do is we'll set our RLS frequency, so that's going to be 11.5. Put that into there like so, and we'll set the course, which is going to be 16, and we'll do the same over on this side too. But what we will do is we'll just set the VOR frequency in, just for a bit of reference on how far we are from the airport, and then we'll set that 11.5, and it's just a case of following our descent really, and just letting the autopilot do everything itself. And we will use we'll see what that gives us with auto brake free, but we'll go flaps 30. Maybe we should go flaps 40, because there are a few propeller planes that use airport. And yeah, we'll use that so we can, and no, we'll actually go flaps 30. We'll see what that gives us, which is nothing really, so we'll go flaps 30, auto brake 3, and we'll go into our FMC and just enter in the speed like so. Man, it looks like it's a bit of a cloudy day and coming into Brisbane, but in real life it's a very clear sunny day outside. It does look like really nice. I did do a drive, not out this far, but a lot of Australia does look like, a lot of this part does look like this, nice green fields and all your different farm animals. Australia does have that perception of just being that big, dry, big red desert, but there's actually a lot more to Australia than just the green, the bright red outback. There's lots of greenery around Australia, lots of farming, lots of, in some areas, rainforests, tropical rainforests, subtropical rainforests, temperate rainforests, mountains, as I've mentioned earlier, just down near Sydney there, you've got the Blue Mountains, which sort of follow through that down into Canberra and heading into Victoria there towards Melbourne, and some ski fields as well. So Australia definitely does have everything there. It just doesn't have, like, obviously the ski fields we have in New Zealand, but it still does have ski fields nonetheless. And we'll get our next flight level to descend to, which is why I've got it set as we're flying over the beautiful Gold Coast, and we'll set our QNH now that we've been given our QNH, which is 1014, so we'll set that like so. But yeah, we should do a flight into Gold Coast at some stage and yeah, explore the interesting, that airport actually sits right on the border of Queensland and New South Wales, so now we're technically into New South Wales as we are now flying over the main, that's where all the famous skyscrapers are. We're very close to Brisbane. You sort of think they're quite far apart, but they're not actually in the grand scheme of things. And there's if you're in Queensland, make use of the 50-cent public transport, so you can get a train from Gold Coast all the way into Brisbane, and it only costs you 50 cents, which is pretty darn amazing. Right, we're going to turn on these fixed landing lights first, and we'll turn these into continuous. Turn out these lights on so we don't forget. We can now turn on the seatbelt fasten sign. As we slice through the air on our way to getting close to our arrival airport. But yeah, as I mentioned many times, I love higher fidelity aircraft, being able to do all of these things, but I'm not hard out into like going through all of the different system tests and all the rest of it. But yeah, no, it's really cool to fly this, and it's, if you strip it all the way down, these complex aircrafts are actually really easy to fly, really easy to set up and get going. And if you're like me, if you just like to do these mundane, if you got that OCD like I have and do these mundane real life flights but not have to be hardcore, then yeah, you're able to do that in this with these aircraft. They're not overly complicated things, and yeah, make it work for you. Right, we are getting close to capturing the ILS. Right, we're just gonna arm the approach. And we'll just minimize that, we don't need that anymore. And we're nicely lined up on the runway like so, and we'll just follow it through. I'll just put out some flaps for now. Right, I think we're still a wee way away, so we've got 11 nautical miles to slow down. We haven't had any speed restrictions, so I'm guessing we need to keep our speed up. But yeah, as we enjoy this beautiful approach, flying along the edge of the what we'll do is we'll just turn off that radar down a notch, that aircraft warning radar I like to call it. But yeah, as we skirt along the edges, along the edge of the city like so. Right, we'll start peeling back that speed down to 180. And I think that's another aircraft coming to land, so we'll just peel our speed right back to our final approach speed, which is going to be 145. Right, that's the flaps that we've got set out that we need. Flying over the two race courses over here. And this is all industrial land out over here, and we will turn off the autopilot, turn off the auto throttle, do the rest ourselves. We'll flick this over to the approach.
1000.
Now what I do need to do, I forgot to do it, I'll change my gate. For some reason it defaults to a random apron right out at the right out where they do the maintenance of the aircraft, but we'll select it for the respectable gates for where we go for these Virgin Australia aircraft. As we make our approach into Brisbane, as we fly over those gigantic trees, which in real life aren't that big. I think below us in real life it's all like mangroves and swamp sort of thing. So nice landing into Brisbane here. I think this is going to be a nice smooth landing as well.
50, 30, 20, 10.
Right, we can turn off our auto brake before we lose that speed. And we can just take this taxiway here, and flaps can now come up. Landing lights, forgot to put on those full lights, but that's okay. Strobes, double click to get them into that steady bit off, turn off these. And I'm just going to have to try and find a taxiway, the right gate I should say. So I'm just going to Get rid of the spoilers while we're there. Oh, one thing I will do is I'll turn on the APU. Get that ready as well, and I'll turn off the pitos. And we'll turn this transponder down a notch. And that's right, I'm going to quickly find the right gate. So that's going to be, we'll see if 448 is in the database. Nope, that's not in the database. Oh, actually, it's just 44. I'm just go for that 44. Right there, I think that's the APU online. So we'll flick that over to the APU. Get rid of that master warning light, that caution light, and we will enjoy a little wee scenic taxiway towards our gate. And we'll just turn off our flight directors, we don't need those anymore. Right, we'll pull into here and we'll get getting close to our gate, the real world Virgin gate here. And certainly you will not see those international aircraft parked over there. And hopefully in the not too distant future we'll be able to get the Fokker 100s out for a spin once they get released. I see them flying over all the time and I'm really looking forward to that, and it's already a little bit of sad news that Virgin Australia is going to be retiring their Fokkers at the end of this month, so we won't be able to use real world Virgin flights very soon, but we still have Qantas and Alliance here. Also Papua New Guinea Airlines as well operate them, so we've still got a few to call on, which is quite unique in this part of the world. So when they come out, we'll turn off our taxi lights. We'll definitely get that out as soon as possible. I'm definitely getting that as soon as possible so we can replicate all of those real world routes, as we will just go ahead and park there and we can now power down the aircraft like so. And that will conclude our flight today, ladies and gentlemen. Right, thanks heap for being a part of that flight, and we'll see you again very shortly, folks. Thank you, and we'll see you again later.